Good morning. How are you guys today? I hope everything's going well. I am going to start reading to you guys. There were enough of you who asked for me to do that, so this is not required, but it is a tool for you to use if you feel like you're struggling with reading Shakespeare. So I'm just going to read and then I'm going to stop whenever we find something interesting and talk about it, but it shouldn't take us very long to get through about 7 pages of reading this morning, and we're just going to take it slowly so that we cover it well. All right. Okay, here we go. We have Exeter, Bedford, and Westmoreland. Remember that Exeter is Henry's uncle. And then Bedford and Westmoreland are nobles. Before God, his grace is bold to trust these traitors, Bedford says. Exeter says, they shall be apprehended by and by. Westmoreland says, how smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosom sat crowned with faith and constant loyalty. Remember what the chorus told us, that there are 3 nobles that have betrayed Henry, and they are planning to assassinate him in Southampton before they sail for France. So that's who these nobles are discussing. The king hath note of all that they intend, by interception which they dream not of. He figured it out in a way they'll never imagine. Nay, says Exeter, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he hath dulled and cloyed with gracious favours, that he should, for a foreign purse, so sell his sovereign's life to death and treachery. So they're saying that the man that he shared his hotel room with, or lodgings with, heard him talking. So during this time period, when you would go and travel, you would take a room at a tavern or an inn, and you may, if travel is light, you may get the room all to yourself. However, you may have to share a bed with someone if the inn is overbooked, in a sense, or just full. So that you would have, this is where the saying strange bedfellows comes from, because you could end up sleeping in a bed with someone you've never laid eyes on before. King Henry says, now sits the wind fair, and we will aboard, my lord of Cambridge and my kind lord of Masham, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us will cut their passage through the force of France, doing the execution and the act for which we have in head assembled them? So don't you think we're going to win the war? Scrope says, no doubt, my liege, if each man do his best. King Henry says, I doubt not that, since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence that grows not in a fair consent with ours. So everybody agrees with me. Nor leave not one behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on us, and everyone behind us wants us to win as well, the ones that we're leaving behind. Cambridge says, never was monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in heart grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government. So everyone under your leadership is happy to be there. Gray says, true. Those that were your father's enemies have steeped their gall in honey, and do serve you with hearts created of duty and of zeal. King Henry says, we therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hand sooner than quittance of desert and merit, according to the weight and worthiness. Scrope says, so service shall be steeled with sinews toil, and labor shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant services. Everyone will be happy to work for you. All 3 of these nobles that Henry is talking to are the ones who have agreed to commit this heinous act of assassination. So this entire section is ironic in that they keep saying how loyal they are to King Henry, even though Henry already knows that they have agreed with France to assassinate him. King Henry says, we judge no less, uncle of Exeter. Enlarge the man it committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more advice we pardon him. So now they're looking at a man who, in a drunken state, criticized Henry V the night before, and he's been brought before them for their judgment. But Henry is wont to show grace in this matter, to forgive him because he was drunk and saying things that he shouldn't have been saying. But not fully in control of his faculties. We might think that he would be a little more merciful towards someone like this because he has also been in such a state in his past. Scroop says, that's mercy, but too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind. So this is a man willing to kill Henry, who wants Henry to punish more severely a drunk who hasn't planned anything evil against the king, but has spoken out of turn. King Henry says, oh, let us yet be merciful. Cambridge says, so may, your highness, and yet punish too, so you can be merciful but still punish him. Grey says, sir, you show great mercy if you give him life after the taste of much correction, so you should beat him within an inch of his life and then let him live. King Henry says, alas, your too much love and care of me are heavy orisons, heavy prayers against this poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested appear before us? So if we punish severely a drunk who had no premeditation, then what should we do for people that have committed capital crimes like treason? We'll yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge, Scroop, and Grey, in their dear cure and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. So we're going to let him go free, even though these three would have punished him severely. And now to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners? Cambridge says, I won, my lord. Your highness bade me ask for it today. Scroop says, so did you me, my liege, and I, my royal sovereign. Grey. King Henry gives them papers. Then Richard, Earl of Cambridge, there is yours. They're yours, Lord Scroop of Masham, and Sir Knight Grey of Northumberland, the same is yours. Read them, and know I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you lose so much complexion? So they read their charges. Now they did not know that the king was aware of their treason, and it is written in the papers, and as they read them, their faces go pale, and they begin to sweat, I would imagine, or get very nervous. Look you how they change. Their cheeks are paper, so paper white. Why, what read you there that have so cowarded and chased your blood out of appearance? So what's made your blood disappear? Cambridge says, I do confess my fault, and do submit me to your highness's mercy. Grey and Scroop also say, to which we all appeal. And King Henry says, the mercy that was quick in us the mercy that was quick in us but late, by your own counsel is suppressed and killed. You must not dare for shame to talk of mercy. So you had no mercy for the drunk man. Why would I have mercy now on someone who's committed a far greater crime? For your own reasons, turn into your own bosoms as dogs upon their masters, worrying you. You, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters, my Lord of Cambridge here, you know how apt our love was to accord, to furnish him with all appurtenance belonging to his honor. And this man hath, for a few light crowns, so just a little bit of bribery, lightly conspired and sworn unto the practices of France to kill us here in Hampton. That's short for Southampton. To the which this knight, no less for bounty bound to us than Cambridge is, hath likewise sworn. So they've both sworn. And now, but oh, what shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop, thou cruel, ungrateful, savage, and inhuman creature? Thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, so you were very close to me, and I trusted you so much, that knew the very bottom of my soul, that almost mightest have coined me into gold, wouldst thou have practiced on me for thy use? May it be possible that foreign hire could out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger? So during this time period, the nobles would be granted the privilege of being able to make the coinage and put the king's likeness on it. And they would make a great deal of money off of this. And so this is one privilege that had been granted to Lord Scroop. That's what's being represented here or discussed. 'Tis so strange that though the truth of it stands off as gross as black and white, my eye will scarcely see it. Treason and murder ever kept together as two yoke devils sworn to either's purpose, working so grossly in a natural cause that admiration did not whoop at them, But thou, against all proportion, didst bring in wonder to wait on treason and on murder. And whatsoever cunning fiend it was that wrought upon thee so preposterously hath got the voice in hell for excellence. So whatever demon convinced you to do that, he wins the prize. All other devils that suggest by treasons do botch and bungle up damnation with patches, colors, and with forms being fetched from glistering semblances of piety. But he that tempered thee, bade thee stand up, gave thee no instance why thou shouldst do treason, unless to dub thee with the name of traitor. If that same demon that hath galled thee thus should with his lion gait walk the whole world, he might return to vasty Tartar back and tell the legions, I can never win a soul so easy as that Englishman's. Oh, how hast thou with jealousy infected the sweetness of affiance? Show men dutiful. Why so didst thou? Seem they grave and learned? Why so didst thou? Come they of noble family? Why so didst thou? Seem they religious? Why so didst thou? Or are they spare in diet, free from gross passion or of mirth or of anger, constant in spirit, not swerving with the blood, garnished and decked in modest compliment, not working with the eye without the ear, but in purged judgment, trusting neither? Such and so finely bolted didst thou seem, and thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot, to mark the full-fraught man and best endued with some suspicion. I will weep for thee, for this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. What fall of man might he be referring to? He's saying that Lord Scroop was the one that he would have never guessed. Nothing in him would have ever suggested that he would do such a thing. And so this failure has hurt Henry more than any of the others, and he weeps for it. And he talks about the fall of man. This is, of course, referring to Adam. And we also have the fall of Judas, the traitor, for a few coins, which he references up earlier. I don't see the line right away, but he referred to that earlier. Just a few coins, he becomes a traitor of him, and that, of course, is a reference to Judas's betraying Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. All right. Their faults are open, so everybody knows now. So arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices. Exeter says, I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Richard, Earl of Cambridge. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Henry, Lord Scroop of Masham. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland. Scroop says, our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your highness to forgive, although my body pay the price of it. So Scroop is heartily, or at least he makes the statement that he is heartily sorry, and it is all his fault. For me, Cambridge says, the gold of France did not seduce, although I did admit it as a motive, the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thankful for prevention, which I in sufferance heartily will rejoice, beseeching God and you to pardon me. He says, I'm thankful that God kept me from being able to commit this crime. Gray says, never did faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of more dangerous treason than I do at this hour, joy over myself. So he's joining him. Prevented from a damned enterprise, my fault, but not my body, pardon, sovereign. King Henry says, God quit you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our person seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you have sought, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor, miserable wretches, to your death, the taste whereof God of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offenses. Bear them hence. Okay, then I'm going to let you read the last few lines to yourself, because Henry makes a very interesting note here, and I want to take our last 30 seconds to note it. That Henry says, I'm actually punishing you not because you threatened my life, but because you threatened the lives of our kingdom. The fall of their monarch would have perhaps meant the fall of the country. And so Henry says, I am punishing you more for what you have done to your noble countrymen than what you have done to me. All right, I hope that helps, and you can finish this up